Who was the greatest starting five in the history of the NBA from the defensive side of the floor? That's what we're going to be getting into this video today. I want to welcome you guys to Dreamers Pro. Let's get into the content. Starting off my team at the point guard spot, I got my man Gary Payton, the glove himself. Now, first of all, Gary Payton won a Defensive Player of the Year award. He's a 9-time NBA All-Star. He's been on 9 all-first defensive teams, and he's led the league in steals once with 2.9 steals a game. Now, Gary Payton we all know Gary Payton for how tenacious he was on defense. He could also give it to you on the offensive end, but how tenacious he was on defense, the way the physicality that he used to play his defense with, and you even saw him in the finals go up against Michael Jordan, and he was trash talking MJ because Gary Payton would not back down from anyone. He was just that type of dude, and he brought it every single night, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and that's the reason why he ended up winning a Defensive Player of the Year. So that's why I have starting off my team at the point guard spot. At the 2 guard spot, I got the greatest basketball player of all time in Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Now, first of all, we all know who MJ is. We know all the amazing things that he did, but Michael Jordan won a Defensive Player of the Year award. He's been a 14-time All-Star. He's been on 9 all-first defensive teams, and he led the leagues in steals per game 3 times actually. He did it once, averaging 3.2 steals a game, 2.8 steals a game, and he did it again with 2.8 steals a game. Now, as Gary Payton, we all know him as the glove, but it's safe to say that MJ was a better perimeter defender than he was, and this is no secret why Michael Jordan was the greatest basketball player of all time. I will put him against any guard or forward in the history, a small forward in the history of basketball, and I guarantee he will give it to that dude. So MJ had a killer will, and there's just no way I think you'll be able to score on MJ at any kind of efficient level. So MJ's at my number 2 spot. Coming in at the 3 spot, at the small forward spot, I got my man Kawhi Leonard. Yes, y'all, the board man got paid. Now, Kawhi Leonard is actually a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's a 3-time All-Star. He's been on 3 all-first defensive teams, and he led the league once with steals per game with 2.3 steals. Now, some of y'all may be seeing these stats and be like, yo, how come you ain't got Scottie Pippen? Well, first of all, my rule is to make it on the all-defensive team, the greatest defensive team of all time, you gotta have at least 1 Defensive Player of the Year award, and Kawhi Leonard has 2, and I guarantee you he's going to make more first all-defensive teams as he goes on and as his career continues on. So I got my first 3 people, Gary Payton, Michael Jordan, and Kawhi Leonard. Now moving over to the 4th spot, I got Dwight Howard, y'all. Dwight Howard is going to be my power forward on defense. Now, Dwight Howard is a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's an 8-time All-Star. He's been on 4 all-defensive teams, and he led the league in block twice, once averaging 2.9 blocks a game, and the other season he averaged 2.8 blocks a game. So Dwight Howard, we all know this. He's a physical specimen, especially when he was playing in Orlando. He was a shot blocking machine with the physicality that he played with, and he was actually able to guard players that were actually heavier than him because he was so strong. He had good lateral quickness for his size, and he could actually get off the floor pretty quickly with his second jumps, so it allowed him to contest multiple shots going to the rim. Dwight Howard was a monster on defense, and with his big broad shoulders, he could actually put his weight into defenders, and with his strength, he was really good at moving players and really being able to guide them where he wanted to go on the floor without really hand checking them. But that's something that Dwight Howard did really, really, really well, and that's what led to a lot of his success on the defensive end. He was never the greatest offensively polished basketball player, but on the defensive side of the ball, we all know that Dwight Howard is going to be a future Hall of Famer, just because if we just looked at his prowess from the defensive side of the ball with rebounding, blocks per games, and just playing straight up man-up defense, Dwight Howard, without a doubt, is the best power forward of all time when it comes to defense, and he won 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards to back it up. So that's who I have in my power forward spot. And finishing off my list, rounding it off at the 5 spot, now some people may say Bill Russell, but I'm going with Ben Wallace. Yes, we all remember Ben Wallace from the Detroit Pistons when they were going to the Eastern Conference Finals pretty much every single year, it seemed like, going up against the Pacers, sometimes the Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron James. But Ben Wallace was the anchor of an all-time defensive team. So Ben Wallace is a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. 4-time, not 2, 3, a four-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's been a four-time All-Star. He's been on 5 All-First defensive teams, and he led the league in blocks with 3.5 blocks a game. If you check out Ben Wallace, you will know that he was the real deal on defense. There were times that he would block Shaq, and Shaq was a much bigger, heavier player than him. But just because of his strength and his tenacity on defense and how defensively cerebral he was, Ben Wallace was pretty much able to guard any power forward or center in the league for an extended amount of time, and that's the reason why he was able to maintain such a high level of defense for so long, and that's the reason he went on to win 4 Defensive Players of the Year. So rounding off my list, I got at the starting point, the point guard spot, I got Gary Payton, who's been on an all-defensive team. I got Michael Jordan, who's Gary Payton, who won the Defensive Player of the Year award. I got Michael Jordan, who won the Defensive Player of the Year award. I got Kawhi Leonard with 2 Defensive Player of the Year award. I got Dwight Howard at the 4th spot with 3 of them, and I got Ben Wallace at the 5th spot and with 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards. So with that team, I don't see it. You're going to be really hard pressed to score against this team. So in my opinion, this is the greatest defensive starting 5 in the history of basketball. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about this list. And if you have your own list, please leave it in the comment section below. I'd really like to know what you guys think. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamers Pro, wishing you guys an amazing day. Peace.